Ever watch someone's whole empire collapse in under 8 minutes? Not on TV, right in front of your eyes in real time. Let me tell you, I have. And you know what? It was one hell of a morning. There she was, Barbara Winchester, self-proclaimed queen of our HOA, standing at my locked gate, looking like a caged raccoon at a trash can buffet gone wrong. Her designer Prada bag in the mud, those fancy $600,000 sale contract papers scattered like confetti at a party nobody wanted to be at. And man, her mascara was doing a full marathon down her face. Meanwhile, she's screaming about her rights to 3 state police officers who look like they'd rather be anywhere else. The air is full of police radio static and the kind of tension you can only get when 2 slick developers in $1,000 suits realize their golden goose is dead and flopping right in front of them. One of those guys actually whips out his phone, probably to call his lawyer, but, a little late for that. I just stood there on my dock, coffee in hand, watching karma in action. Sweeter coffee, I swear, than I'd had in months. Cops reviewing security footage, Barbara's face plastered in HD as she forges county documents. Every lie, every threat, every little criminal move all right there in 4K glory. And all because she thought she could auction off my family's 80-year-old sanctuary, my great-grandfather's lake, the one he dug by hand after surviving WW2. She figured she could bully a quiet civil engineer into giving up his legacy. Yeah, she thought wrong. I let her dig her own grave for 3 months. Then, I just handed her the shovel and let gravity do the rest. You got a wild property dispute story, drop it in the comments. But I'll bet you it's got nothing on this one. Name's James Donovan. Folks call me JD. I'm 38. And for most of my life, I've been the guy who fixes problems quietly with measurements, not opinions. Civil engineer by day, water system, storm runoff, all the stuff people forget about until their basement floods. By night and early morning, I'm something else. Caretaker of a place that's more legacy than land. Every morning starts the same. 5 a.m. before the sun's up, I step out onto the dock with a mug of coffee and a stack of blueprints. Same Carhartt jacket I've had since I was a broke 20-something. Same boots beat to hell from fixing docks, clearing brush, and repairing whatever Mother Nature decides to throw at us that week. My hands rough-nicked and calloused. Not by choice, because this place needs care. Out there, the lake's calm. Herons stalking breakfast in the shallows, bullfrogs still dreaming. Coffee cools as I run through mental checklists. Dock stability, waterline markers, the usual stuff. The lake is 53 acres, spring-fed, so clear you can see 30 feet down to limestone. Wild mint lines the shore, and if you brush past it at dusk, the air smells clean and sharp. My great-granddad Jeremiah made this lake, came home from World War II, used his veterans land grant, and spent 4 years digging out the basin. Family legend says my great-grandma sold her wedding ring just so he could buy enough dynamite to break through limestone. That's the kind of sacrifice people forget when they call something just property. 3 generations learned to swim here. Every 4th of July, the whole family shows up. Last year, there were 47 of us, all packed around picnic tables and lawn chairs, kids doing cannonballs off the dock. This place isn't a backdrop, it's living memory. My wife Rebecca gets it better than anyone. We met in high school before things like careers and mortgages could weigh us down. Now she's an environmental science teacher, the kind who brings home water samples and makes her students care about pH levels. Our twin girls, Madison and Morgan, are 10. We homeschool part-time. Let them learn real things, bird calls, water quality, how to tell when frogs mean your ecosystem's healthy. To them, the lake isn't property. It's a classroom with no walls. My great-grandfather's ashes rest under a stand of birch trees on the North Shore. Every Saturday, if the weather's nice, we make pancakes on the dock. The girls eat cross-legged, flipping through bird guides while Rebecca quizzes them on turbidity. I just sip coffee, scanning for problems. This land, it's proof that effort means something. So when Barbara Winchester rolls in from Chicago, Range Rover vanity plate reading SOLD4U, and starts calling my lake a wasted asset. Yeah, the fuse was lit. Barbara arrived in the gated community that borders my property like a cold front. She became HOA president in 3 months. Not because anyone really voted, but because she wore people down with that same smile you see on realtors' billboards. She started measuring lawns, fining people for grass that grew an inch too tall, citing people for Christmas lights in January, you name it. Then she invented a property enhancement committee, just her and her two besties handing themselves authority. And then she noticed the lake. I remember the first time she really looked at it. We're standing at the fence. She's got that appraising a diamond look. She goes, "What a waste of developable waterfront." Not a question calculation. Suddenly she's asking all these pointed questions. Who technically owns the lake? What are the taxes, maintenance, costs? Did I ever think about the liability? At first I answered her polite as can be, thinking maybe she's just curious. But she's not. She's a shark circling. Then comes the letter on a March morning, so gray even the sun didn't bother showing up. Mandatory community waterfront assessment, it says. Barbara claims the lake's a shared resource now. $1,200 a month for communal waterfront access management. If I don't pay, they'll file a lien, then foreclose. The letter's full of legal-sounding words, statutes. I'd never heard of a surveyor's signature from a company I can't find online. Rebecca reads the number, does the math. Her face goes pale. "JD, we can't afford this." Madison asked the question we both dreaded. Are we going to lose Grandpa Jeremiah's lake? Right then, the room goes cold. Outside, the loons sound less peaceful, more like warning sirens. That's when I stopped thinking like a property owner and started acting like an engineer. I dug out the original Deed County Seal typewriter font, the real deal. Cross-referenced every inch with modern survey maps. Our property includes the lake plus 200 feet all around. HOA has zero jurisdiction. Barbara didn't make a mistake, she fabricated one. So I did what I do best. I gathered evidence, no angry emails, no online rants. Just paper data and a hell of a lot of patience. When I brought the documents to Barbara, her office was a monument to herself. Plaques, motivational quotes. Hustle harder hung just crooked enough to be ironic. I laid out the deed, the surveys, the tax records. She barely glanced at them before telling me, "These old papers don't override modern community standards." I told her they override whatever you think the boundary is. She slid a glossy, updated boundary assessment across the desk made up by Bradley Surveying. I asked, "Who are they?" She replied, "You wouldn't understand." I let her have her moment. Then I started treating my property like an infrastructure project. Surveillance cameras, 8 of them, then 12, then more, all tied to motion sensors, time-stamped, overlapping angles. I checked Bradley. Surveying didn't exist. Called my contacts, no such company, not in any registry. Barbara had been bankrupt, lost her real estate license in Illinois for fraud. I found court records, paper trails. She'd done this before. The twist came from a trail camera, Barbara walking my property with a slick developer, Todd Prescott. He's a big shot land flipper. Audio picked up their conversation. "This could be an $8 million subdivision," he says. "Barbara's playing fixer using HOA power to pressure families, then Prescott swoops in to develop." I mapped 3 other neighborhoods where they ran the same playbook. It wasn't just about my lake anymore. It was bigger, uglier. And it was predictable. So I built my own playbook. Then Barbara tried bringing in the health department, claimed my lake was a mosquito hazard. County inspector shows up, clipboard in hand, Barbara playing the concerned neighbor. Rebecca's worried the girls are scared, but I have water data cleaner than most city systems. I called the county director, directly walked him through the results. Found out Barbara had donated $5,000 to his re-election campaign. The complaint was pure theater. But word spreads faster than correction. Soon neighbors are whispering, flyers show up accusing me of endangering the community. Madison comes home crying because her friend's mom won't let her visit. Our mailbox gets spray-painted selfish. Rebecca and I see the girls start to lose faith. That's when I realized this wasn't just about saving land. It was about teaching my daughters bullies don't stop when you give in and truth outlasts lies, but only if you fight for it. I called in an old college buddy, Mark, ex-FBI, now private. He found the real reason Barbara was $680,000 in personal debt behind on her mortgage, staring down the barrel of a divorce settlement. She was desperate. The fake survey, the pressure tactics, the health complaints, they weren't just about greed. They were survival, and desperation leaves a trail. Soon, cameras caught a midnight meeting, Barbara Prescott and County Commissioner Hayes plotting to have my property seized for environmental contamination via eminent domain. All on audio, all legal. They wanted the sale done by the end of the month. I realized, don't just defend. Let them walk into a trap of their own making. So I set the stage. Upgraded cameras, overlapping audio, legal notices everywhere. Called state police, laid out every piece of evidence, every timeline, every document. Got a property rights attorney, Diane Rothschild, to help tie it all up. I let Barbara believe I was about to fold, invited her for a resolution meeting at the lake. On D-Day, Barbara showed up with Prescott and the county inspector all ready for a quick shakedown. They offered $180,000 for my entire lake. I countered with water test results that blew their fake contamination story out of the water. When they tried to pressure me, I presented the signed sale agreement, Barbara's cut clear as day. Cameras rolling, audio clear. Then the police arrived, sirens and all. Barbara tried to run, heel caught bag in the mud, all dignity gone. Prescott went silent. Inspector Davis broke down and confessed. Hayes got picked up by the FBI and the whole neighborhood watched as justice, slow, boring procedural, finally did its job. Barbara pled guilty. Federal prison, huge fines, lifetime HOA ban. Prescott went to trial, lost everything. The inspector testified, saved himself from prison but lost his job, his name, everything. Hayes went away for public corruption, 8 years, multiple indictments. You better believe nobody's putting their name on dirty HOA power plays anymore. And the best part, the legal precedent. Our case became the backbone of Michigan's new Homeowner Protection Act. Now HOA assessments need a 75% vote, mandatory independent audits, criminal penalties for fake claims. Families can sue for triple damages. I helped set up a legal clinic for HOA abuse victims, helped 23 families in the first year. The lake is safe, permanently. We set up a conservation trust. No developer will ever get their hands on it. The university sends students to study conservation. My girls lead tours and teach other kids how to protect what matters. Every July, the neighborhood gathers to scatter wildflower seeds, keep Jeremiah's dream growing. The new HOA board runs on transparency, term limits, and consent. The place feels lighter, more cooperative, safer. Do I regret the sleepless nights, the fights, the stress? Not for a second. Every time I watch my daughters swimming in the water, their great-great-grandfather dug with his own hands, I know some things are worth every battle. So let me ask you, where do you draw the line? When does standing up for your legacy become a duty, not a choice? And how many times does justice have to fail before we decide to fix the system? Not just our own problems. Share your story below about standing up, about winning, or even about losing. Someone out there probably needs to hear it. And remember, some things are just too precious to have a price.